form this relationship with the client from the time that they come in to the time that that car leaves.
Some of these relationships they have are long-term relationships.
It's similar to marriage.
It's something that you think about when you're going to bed at night.
There's a lot of give and take.
You know, you make that commitment and that's it.
It's the first thing that comes into your mind when you wake up in the morning.
How much time and effort you put in is exactly what you'll get in return.
The relationship the client has with their vehicle is very much like a marriage.
There's highs and lows.
It's all about the satisfaction that you're going to get of a job well done.
The relationship we have with Gil and Linda and the vehicles is like a marriage.
That relationship the client has with that vehicle, we share that with them. So we're both married to the ride.
Gil and Linda are married to the rides.
Do you have a moment to talk about the 37 Chevy truck?
Sure.
All right, so, I mean, we moved really quick on that, and he's coming Wednesday, and then he'll be down in Florida for a few months, so I just want to make sure we have all the questions answered while he's here if we have to show him anything. I put down for you, I know you were questioning the headliner, you know, what he'd like to do with that.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
a matter of do we wrap it, do we not wrap it? Right now we're just kind of have it spread open and trying to heat it and get it to take shape because it was rolled up in a box.
Well, yeah, for a couple of years, I'm sure. And then I know he requested a radio, so you may want to go over what he wants to do with that. Speakers, where are we putting those? There's a very small dash in there that has everything because there is a heater in that. So
well,
that takes up room
a
under
radio
there.
that you don't have to see, we can hide it under the seat and then he can just work off of Bluetooth. And then since the gas tank is moved out of the cab, we can just put the two speakers in the corner. So
All right,
if he's
so,
okay with that,
so talk to him about that. And then, you know, I have my questions, but if there's anything else you can think of, I know the seats are already, you know, those had been done. He provided them done. But if there's anything else you want to talk to him about, now is going to be the time. So just let me know and I'll add it.
We got to talk about kick panels. Usually they're cardboard, so I don't know if that's going to be a thing. And then Bob and I were talking about the windlace too. So the windlace has to be discussed. Does he want that black? Does he want it brown to match? I believe the seat's brown, right?
It's a light
Yeah.
brown. It's not like a dark brown.
Yeah,
It's almost
so
like
he has to let me know
like
what color windlace he wants, what color kick panels, and then what we're doing with the headliner. So other than that, we're not really. Oh, the floor. What are we doing? A vinyl mat or carpet? So other than the carpet, the headliner, the kick panels, and the windlace, there's really not much to do.
Well, I mean,
compared to the other ones.
well, yeah, no. The Tempest is going to be a lot of interior. So I hope you're ready. You've had plenty of time I've given you.
Yeah.
Well, I've been getting it done. So just giving you a heads up because that'll be coming over here. I need room on the other side for some of the other stuff that's coming.
Awesome.
So, all right. I think that's it.
Excellent.
That's a wrap.
Awesome.
So we got a call in the shop. We're going out to check out this potential project. 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser was started at another shop, which seems to be our MO here. And we were like, okay, we're all set. You know, we're gonna take a trip out on a Sunday, you know, just easier for the client, easier for us. And we got the most unexpected snowstorm. And they don't live in a typical area. They kind of live up in the woods. So yeah, that was an interesting. My Jeep didn't even make it up. My Wrangler didn't even make it up the hill. It was a sad day for me. It was kind of embarrassing. But anyway, we made it and checked out the project, and I'm excited to get it in the shop. I really, really am because, and not that I have anything against Ford and Chevy, but I just feel like it's something really unique and special, and I always embrace that. You know, it's just nice to mix it up a little bit, I guess, in the shop. Here in the shop, I think that for the most part, what we do, especially with restorations, it's, you know what the vehicle's going to look like, you know how the motor's going to be. You know, the same thing with the interior. I mean, yeah, you get a custom interior, but I think those being a little different is to be expected. But the unexpected is when a client comes in with something that's one thing and we want to completely turn it into another. And that's the case with a 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser that we're going to be working on.
All right, today at GCD we got this 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser in. It's a little bit of an unexpected build for us. Usually we do classic American cars here.
Well, in 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser came in. It was a bit unexpected. Don't usually get the newer non-hot rod kind of stuff, so it was definitely different.
You know, you figure big tires, you know, four-wheel drive, big bumpers, tow hitch, maybe, you know, some fun, cool lights, and, you know, you're going to go off-roading. No.
The client wants to do some very unexpected build items to it. Instead of lifting it, putting big tires on it, maybe a rooftop tent or whatnot, which is pretty common for Land Cruisers. We're going to go down on the ground with it, big wheels, big horsepower, still keep it all-wheel drive.
I did not expect the 605 horsepower LS that they wanted to put in there. We are lowering it, even though we're keeping the four-wheel drive, but we're doing a four-link suspension with coilovers and Porsche-inspired interior, racing rims, not for your typical four-wheel drive. You know, we're trying to get 20s, possibly. We have to see, you know, once we go through and do some measurements and some backspacing, but it's going to be one kick-ass Land Cruiser when it's done. I'm so excited to see this thing. It's but that's for sure was unexpected. So first order of things, obviously, is to, you know, detrim everything, which Rich is going to be working on, making sure that everything is bagged, tagged, labeled. Even stuff we're not using, you still want to keep because you want to be able to reference that later on, or if you can't get it, maybe we can fix it.
Today I'm working on a 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser. Originally, when this vehicle came in, it came in on a trailer with many of the front end parts, as you can see, were kind of stuffed in the interior of the vehicle, and along with some boxes of parts. So everything had to get cataloged to see what we have. And right now I'm in the process of disassembling the interior of the vehicle and the exterior to get the car ready to get sandblasted or cleaned and then painted.
Everything has to come off because we're sandblasting it. You know, we want to make sure that everything is stripped off there, and also get an inventory of that. What can we reuse? What do we need to order? Because I know things take a little bit to come in on occasion. Things are on back stock, so we like to really, you know, make sure that we have a good game plan, you know, from day one.
Okay, today I'm working on a 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser. As you can see, it came here kind of disassembled. It was at a previous shop about 5 years, and progress wasn't fast enough, so the customer decided to bring it to us. Originally, this had a 6-cylinder gasoline engine in it with a standard transmission. This gentleman wants a lot of modifications done. As far as the engine, he wants to put an LS engine in it, switch it to an automatic transmission. He wants to put 4-link suspension in the front and rear. Basically, from what my understanding is, he wants to be able to take it to a racetrack and have some fun with it. Right now, I'm in the process of disassembling all of the interior and exterior moldings and interior carpeting, seats, everything, so that the entire vehicle can be sandblasted or cleaned up as needed to get painted, along with all new interior and seats. A lot of different parts, everything's getting labeled, and I take a lot of photographs of things so I know how it goes back together afterwards. All labeled, put away, and anything, since the car's been sitting a lot, there's some kind of undesirable things in the car, so some of that's getting thrown out, and of course I wear gloves and a safety mask just in case. The exterior trim, I was very cautious taking it off and labeling it, because most likely it's going to get reused again after the vehicle is painted. My understanding is that we're going to be putting the radiator support and the inner fenders in, and we have a mock-up LS engine that's going to be mounted in there, so that, along with the transmission, to get an idea how everything's going to fit together. Scott's in the middle of taking a transfer case off of the original standard transmission. There's a couple modifications we have to do to the automatic in order to mate the two together.
The second thing is the transfer case that Scott's working on. He's going to be putting adapter on there because we are keeping the four-wheel drive. We do have a new transmission that the client provided, so we want to make sure everything fits together.
On the 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser, we'll be putting an LS base engine in it, approximately 600 horsepower. I'm going to be actually working on the transfer case today, getting that adapter ready for that because we're doing a 4L60 in that. Originally had a manual transmission. The gentleman wants to put a 4-speed automatic in it. So to do that, we have to put an adapter on his original transfer case to make everything work. So Advanced Adapters makes an adapter that we have to put on in between those two to mate them together. All right, in order to get that adapter to fit on that transfer case, I do have to actually split the transfer case in half, remove all the gears out of it because there are some hidden bolts behind one of the gears. Put that back together again, all new gaskets and seals, and then bolt it back onto the end of the transmission. Then we can actually put the trans and the motor all in one unit in there to test fit everything.
Up next on the 86 Land Cruiser, we're obviously going to marry the transfer case, the transmission. We do have a mock-up motor right now until the motor actually gets here. Just to make sure that everything fits, we need to make measurements we're doing a 4-link suspension on this. So we have to take measurements, we have to really look into the brakes, take a good look at the frame, see what we might need to modify in the frame. This will be coming off of the frame, and the frame will get powder coated and everything later on. So we just really want to start mocking everything up, which is really important. Everything on the firewall, that's not necessary, take that off and start getting some of the parts and mocking everything up before we do any kind of body work, metal work, and things of that nature.
I wanted to get a mock-up motor and LS to put in there just to see how much room we had in the firewall area between the fenders to make sure that would fit first. That was actually fit really good. I removed that motor and then I actually wound up putting the transmission and transfer case together and put it back in and make sure that there was no tunnel clearance needed or anything like that, and that actually fit really well as is.
Today we're working on a 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser. As you can see, we just got it sandblasted, and my job today is to condition all the metal, sand it all down, knock down the roughness of the sandblasting, and get it ready for epoxy primer.
We decided to sandblast it because, well, number one, the place that it had been, it was left outside for some time. And obviously that leads to rust. So you want to make sure that you're getting everything off of there, and then you can clearly see what it is that you're working with.
When it came in, it was pretty grimy. Clean vehicle, not a whole lot of rot to it, not a whole lot of rust. Very dirty, very muddy, a lot of grease and oil underneath. So it's nice. So far, it's been a relatively easy project considering what we're used to working on.
We always start with a clean slate. I don't like to go over anybody else's work. I don't like to scuff and shoot. I know I've said that in the past because it just leads to problems. So for us to completely take every stitch of paint off of that, you're clearly able to see what's going on, what you need to address as far as any rust repair, and then you're working with 100% clean slate going forward, and you can guarantee the work that you do. We have our 1986 Land Cruiser. It's now been sandblasted, and honestly, it looks really good, which we kind of had an idea once we started stripping things off of there, But you know, just your typical little around the windshield, some in inner fender wells in the rear, a little bit in the floor. So you know, the bottoms of the doors. So it's the stuff that's expected. But really, Bob doesn't have much metal work to do, which is a nice thing because sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes, you know, you get it in and it's like, oh, it doesn't look bad, and then you blast it and you're left with a Swiss cheese sandwich.
Well, the inherent risk of having anything sandblasted is that it winds up heating up the metal a little bit. It causes a little bit of waves. Not much, but it's always something. So in addition to that, any waves that came from the factory or any damage that's happened in its life, it's going to need a nice tight skim coat of filler just to fill in those low spots and make it so it's a very flat, nice panel.
So Mike today is going to be what they call DAing the entire Land Cruiser to make sure that any little bits, any little pits, anything like that is all smoothed over, to take off all the texture that the sandblasting does leave on there, because you want a nice smooth surface. And then once the DA is done, we put an initial primer on there just to keep it from flash rusting before we can do the body work.
Yeah, the next step is getting the frame done. There's going to be definitely some modifications to the frame to make it structurally sound, to be able to support a larger engine.
All right, today myself, Bob, and Rich are going to be working on the Toyota Land Cruiser. The frame, it's going to be a pretty noisy and dusty day in the shop here because we will be simultaneously cutting and grinding on this chassis together to get it done as quickly as possible. Myself and Rich are going to be working on the suspension side of it. All the links we got to build, we got to weld all the brackets together and tack them to the frame and get them in the right locations. Bob's going to be working on removing any rust issues that we have in the frame and welding in new panels and stuff for that on the frame rails to stiffen everything up.
There were some spots on the frame that had some corrosion that needed to be addressed, as well as we're going to be putting in a much larger motor in it. And in addition to the rust that was on there, the corrosion that was on there, it was important to plate and brace the frame as well as we can, so it doesn't twist and get out of sync when it's all fully together with a larger motor in it.
Today I'm going to be working on the 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser. We're going to work on the suspension. We're actually going to be switching from leafs all around to a 4-link in the rear and a 3-link in the front. So that's going to be a little bit involved, but today we're going to start to remove the old suspension components and mock up the new 4-link setup and get that all aligned and adjusted correctly. With the LS that's going to go in there, he's looking for about 600 horsepower, so it's probably stock. I think he had around 200. He had a small block in it beforehand. So besides the dramatic increase in horsepower and torque, we're actually going to be changing the spec on this. We're going to lower it a little bit instead of lifting. Everybody lifts these Land Cruisers, so we're going the other way. The client wants to have kind of a track, street, fun vehicle, and I think once it's done, it's going to be pretty ridiculous.
We have builds here for all reasons, and this build, the 86 Land Cruiser, is one that kind of speaks to a lot of people that have worked really hard their whole life and just really want to treat themselves. They're at a point in life where they can afford to do something like this, and why not treat yourself? Why not do something for yourself? Why not go ahead and build your dream vehicle? If you have the means and you've worked hard, it's just nice to be able to get to that point, and that's what's really cool about this build. You said that the last time.
I have nothing to talk about this week. You want unexpected? There's nothing happening.
That's unexpected?
Yeah.
That there's nothing going on over there?
Oh, there's plenty going on. It's just...
Nothing film-worthy?
Oh, I had a great opportunity to film something yesterday, and I just totally blew it because I was running back and forth and trying to deal with people coming in unexpectedly. But
So we're at a really nice point with our 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser. We have most of the suspension done. I gotta wait for the coilovers to get in, we can finish that. Bob's about done reinforcing the frame. Bodywork's finished, it's ready to go to initial poly prime. And yeah, I mean, you know, we got on it quick. And I know Mike's last visit, because I had him come out, you know, to get the stance right, because I like everything jacked up really high. You like everything really low to the ground. So I figured we weren't gonna come to a happy medium, so I had him come and decide. But he was really happy with the amount of work that was done and the amount of time it was done, especially, you know, since it came from another shop prior and not a lot was done.
yeah, that suspension was crazy. When all those pipes and tubes and joints were on that table, I thought the table was going to collapse. I mean,
Yeah, it was heavy.
there's a lot
It's
of
all
stuff
heavy.
there.
It's substantial. But it has to be, because now you're putting 605 horsepower in there. So you want to make sure that everything is extra.
Yeah, plus, he's going to put that on the track,
yeah.
four-wheel drive, you know, so you definitely need the upgraded suspension to handle all that.
Yeah. And it just looks nice. It's just impressive to look at. I know that the bars, to figure out, he mentioned possibly doing the blue color. I don't, you know, we'll see. I guess
Yeah.
we'll see when we get it back, because we're just going to powder coat everything, the nice chassis black, the satin black, the frame itself. So we'll see how everything kind of pops out. But if he's doing the blue calipers, the Porsche inspired calipers, then I think that maybe the blue might be nice, or even like even maybe the bronze, since we're doing the bronze wheels.
Yeah, you gotta
Kinda
look at
see.
all that. That's where I
Yeah.
saw that he's gonna do the rendering, so that's gonna help.
Yeah.
Not just interior-wise, it's gonna help exterior-wise.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna see some of the frame, so you may have to revisit colors as far as what the frame's gonna be, what the
Mm-hmm.
suspension's gonna be, because you want it aesthetically
Yeah.
to look a
Everything to
certain
look.
way. Yeah.
And we're going to integrate some amber fog lights into the front bumper, so that'll look nice. It'll still have the Toyota feel to it, but just a little bit more,
It's more modern.
luxurious.
Yeah, no more big chrome bumper, so.
Yeah. And then the interior, I saw she had sent over some pictures. Nice Porsche inspired interior. Pretty leather. That's going to go really nice with the blue, I think.
Yeah, that's that Spezia color. We've
Mm-hmm.
used it a few times. We actually used it on the Targa Porsche. So it's a very nice color, and I think with the Toyota blue, it's going to look really nice.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm going to say by summer, maybe. I'm not quite sure. It depends on how fast the other parts come.
And then an interior shop
Yeah, you guys take
takes
a long
forever to
time.
get stuff done, so who knows? Should have
well,
had that thing
yeah.
in there last year if you want it done by summer.
Listen,
We'll see.
we work with all the stuff we have on our plate. We get a lot done.
I'll put in a word for you guys, so
Mm-hmm.
don't worry.
Thanks.
We'll get it done.
All right, the LS platform that is putting in this 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser is a very good platform for this vehicle. It has been done before, mostly because you get a compact, good horsepower, good reliable engine. So, and you can mate it to whatever transmission you want. There's adapters to put either a 4L60 like we're doing in this particular vehicle. You can put the stock manual transmission in it, and you can do pretty much anything you want. So the LS, even in any vehicle, is a very good choice due to horsepower, compactness, reliability, and options down the road. You know, they make pretty much everything you could think of for an LS-based engine, and the form factor and everything fits really well in the majority of engine bays.
So remember, whether it's restoration work or vehicle maintenance, GCD Auto Studio is the place to contact for all your classic car needs. We'd love to be married to your ride as well.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.